another of the flowers that you're going to get in this latest collection of fleurs is this one here, which is our spring blossom. You're going to get the stamens for the centre and 2 sizes of petals, but remember these petals are also going to double up as leaves and foliage as well. So you'll see here I've already cut some out. So I've cut out the largest petal in white, and I've also cut it out in green. This is actually pear, if I remember rightly. Let me double check. Yes, it is. That is pear. Then I've cut the yellow out, and that's the stamens, and I've cut that out in dahlia, but any of your yellows are going to work. I've also cut some of the small ones out, but I'm not actually going to use them this time, but I'll show you some that I've made using that. So the first thing, this is how I do it, and obviously everybody can put them together differently, is I'm going to add a little bit of colour to them. So I'm just going to add some yellow in the centre because I'm going to use a yellow stamen. Now if I was going to put maybe pink, I might add some pink in the centre, but it really does make it pop if you use a little bit of colour. And then I'm going to add a little bit of pink, but I'm only adding the tiniest hint of pink. I don't know, I'll bring it up to the camera in a minute to show you, on the edges. And I'm also going to do the pink on the back. Now you don't need to do the yellow on the back. Well, I don't think so, but it's entirely up to you. So I shall show you that. So if I bring that close, can you see there's pink around the edges and then yellow in the middle? And you see I've not done anything in the way of blending. This will happen naturally. So I'm going to fold it in half so that 2 of the petals overlap, and then bring that together and then tuck in the 5th petal, just like that. Then I'm just going to pleat them together and twist. I know you might not be able to see, but I'm just literally twisting those, holding the base nice and firmly and twisting the top. And then I'm going to open that out. Now you'll see that the pink has blended really lovely. So I'm just going to spread that open. Now another thing, once you've done that, another thing that you can do is use your ball tool and go in and add even more dimension. So I'm just shaping them over the ball tool. I'll bring it close so you can see. Shape it over and then just use the heat of my hands just to add that extra dimension. Just let me show you, and then shape it over there. And then you can see it's added that bit of a bulbous effect. If I turn it sideways, you can see a bit bulbous. So I want 2 of these. Now it's up to you. Sometimes blossom is just a single petal, sometimes it's a double petal, so you can either do it single or double. It's entirely up to you. And actually if you're doing an arrangement, it's quite nice to do maybe a mix of the 2. So just do a little bit of shaping, just stretch it out. It's amazing how far you can stretch this before it'll snap, and you'll soon get used to it. I still snap petals every now and again, but I just glue them back on or glue them back together, and that's all I need to do. So I've got 2 of those. I might go in with a little bit more pink when I've finished. So for this stamens, I'm going to use 2 of the little stamens that I've cut out in yellow. So I'm going to just move one out of the way, hold it tight with my pokey tool, turn on my heat gun. I'm just giving my heat gun just a minute to warm up, because otherwise you can shrink it before you actually shape it. I'm going to then shape, and watch this, can you see? And up they come. Quickly bring in my mat. Now I'm going to get my middle-sized ball tool and press. And can you see, I'll bring it up close, can you see how the petals are gripping onto the ball tool? Absolutely perfect. So that's going to give me the lovely shape for the centre of my stamen. And I'm going to do the other one. Onto there, bring it up. If you see, as I pull the heat gun away, the petals try to follow it. Quickly put that onto there and then pressing it to bring those petals up round the ball tool. There we go. So that's my 2. Now this one hasn't cupped up as much, so I'm going to use that one as the bottom one and that one as the top. I hadn't decided until I did it, but it just, you can usually tell which way it's going to work. So I've now got just put a hole in the centre of each, and all this is here now is a piece of floristry wire with a little bead on the top. That's all I've done, is just put it in. But a little blob of glue would work just as well, but I just thought I'd make it look pretty. So I'm going to poke it through the first one, and as I get close up to the top, oops, I've got a piece of different foam there. As I got close to the top, I'm just going to put the tiniest little blob of glue underneath and hook that round. So you almost can't see the bead, it's just the stamen showing. Let's put the second one in, and try and stagger. It's not that easy to stagger because they are quite small. And then I'm going to put the tiniest blob of glue at the back. There we go. So while that's nice and wet, I'm going to get one of my petals, put them on. Now if you want to use a small and a large, you could add the small one at this point, but I'm just going to do this with 2 large and put that on. But each time I just shape it in the direction I want it to go, because then the glue will take it. And can you see it's shaped up? Then I'm going to get the second one, and I'm going to stop a bit shy and put on a little blob of glue, and I'm just going to make sure I've got enough. Stagger the petals so that these ones come between there you can see, and then use that glue to shape. There we go. What I can also do is, if I don't like how much colour I've got on them, I can come in with my pastels and add a little bit more if I want, where I've got a little bit that's gone a little bit orange. There we go. But I think that looks quite pretty. Keep shaping it. You can also go in, I can also go in like this, has lost a little bit of its dimension at the ends, and go in and put in a little bit more shape back in if you fancy sort of more ruffled petals. But it's easier to do once it's on, because you know you've not got to flatten it. There we go. Keep it going round and on there. I'm just there, that's, I like that shape better. So the final bit I want to do is, I've got my green set of petals. I'm not going to add any ink at all because I want it quite fresh, and as I said, this is the pear, but olive or any of the other greens, I think you need a bright green. It doesn't want to be one of your dark greens, because this is the spring blossom, so we don't necessarily want harsh greens or dark greens. Open it out, and I'm not going to open it too much because I want this to be just kept like that, and I can always just go back in and shape it, because remember, this isn't a petal, this is sort of more foliage. And then sometimes I put a hole in, sometimes I just use the floristry wire to do that. Bring that up, and again, tiniest blob of glue behind, bring it up. Now I'm going to stagger it again, there, and voila, there's my flower. How pretty is that? Let me show you some that I've made already. So that's another one exactly the same. This one I made, can you see this one? I just curled up a little bit of waste white to make it look one that's not quite open. So a little piece of waste white, but I've still got a little bit of pink around the edges. This one I've done with 2 of the smaller ones, and I've alternated pink and yellow because I thought that looked pretty. Again, had the green behind. What have I done here? We've got so many different combinations. Here I've done a small and a large with 2 pinks in the middle. I've made so many. This one is more of your bud, so this is to show one that's not quite open. All using the exact same petals, but just sticking them down. And that's a bit like the one I've just made. But the difference being this, I've used a small petal behind rather than a large. So now I'm going to have a go at making some sort of beautiful, look at that, beautiful arrangement out of these. But I'm going to save that for the show to show you what that looks like. But how gorgeous is that?